On our broadcast tonight, making history, how the final vote went today for future Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Cutbacks in mail delivery. Is it possible we're going from 6 days to 5? Collision course, a tragic story. One woman behind a car accident that kills 8 people, including 4 children. Authorities say she was drunk tonight. Her husband says not so fast. Ready or not, the scramble in this nation's emergency rooms to prepare for swine flu. And the man behind some of the iconic movies of our time has died. Nightly news begins now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. We now know who will be the next Supreme Court justice. The U.S. Senate today confirmed Judge Sonia Sotomayor as the first Hispanic justice on the Supreme Court, only the 3rd female justice in all of U.S. history. She's all but officially on the court. That comes with a swearing-in ceremony on Saturday. First came today's history-making vote, approving the nominee, as it turns out, by a comfortable margin. We begin here tonight with our justice correspondent, Pete Williams, at the Supreme Court building. Pete, good evening.
Brian, Judge Sotomayor watched the vote at the federal courthouse in New York, about half an hour away from the public housing project where she grew up. And around the country, Hispanic groups were celebrating. Huge cheers in Los Angeles, where Hispanic supporters joined to watch the historic Senate vote. Here and at similar gatherings around the country, pride in having a Supreme Court justice from the nation's fastest growing minority, now 15% of the population.
I was just so elated, thrilled. I had to jump up because this was a moment we've been waiting for our entire lives.
The yeas are 68 and the nays are 31.
Her confirmation was a bulletin on the Spanish-language network Telemundo.
Sonia Sotomayor ha sido votada.
She was confirmed by a wider margin than the last Supreme Court Justice, Samuel Alito, nominated by George W. Bush, but she got fewer votes than the other Bush nominee, John Roberts, who was supported by half the Senate Democrats. Judge Sotomayor picked up votes from 9 Republicans. 4 of them plan to leave the Senate, including Ohio's George Voinovich.
While the Founding Fathers may have a disagreement with her on some of her legal views, I think they would be proud that judging individuals on their merit has endured as part of this great experiment.
For Utah Republican Orrin Hatch, it was the first vote against a Supreme Court nominee.
But I believe that I'm doing the honorable and right thing, even though I feel badly about it.
Only the ailing Ted Kennedy missed the vote. Every other Democrat voted for her.
Our first African-American president has nominated the first Hispanic justice to the United States Supreme Court. Times are changing.
President Obama acknowledged those changing times after the vote, praising his nominee's beliefs.
There are ideals she's fought for throughout her career, and the ideals the Senate has upheld today in breaking yet another barrier and moving us yet another step closer to a more perfect union.
Judge Sotomayor will be sworn in here at the court on Saturday by Chief Justice Roberts, and she'll first be on the bench just a month from now when the court meets in a rare summer session to hear a big case on campaign spending. Brian?
Pete Williams starting us off at the court tonight. Pete, thanks. And after confirming the newest justice-to-be, the Senate then took on the car business, specifically this popular new program, Cash for Clunkers. Lately, it's found itself without funding, but not without its critics. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is on Capitol Hill tonight with the latest. Kelly, good evening.
Brian, it was just minutes after that Supreme Court vote that the Senate shifted into the nuts and bolts of Cash for Clunkers. Should the car rebate program get another $2 billion? You've heard how it works. You turn in an old gas guzzler, you get up to $4,500 toward a new, more fuel-efficient car. Now, senators are here late tonight with hours of debate over a series of proposed changes, most of them from Republicans who say that the government can't afford to help people buy cars. Now, if any of those changes were to pass, the money for Cash for Clunkers would be dead. Why? Because the House of Representatives would have to agree to it too, and they've already left town for the summer recess. So the fate of Cash for Clunkers will be known tonight when the final votes are cast. Brian?
Kelly O'Donnell will be working late tonight on Capitol Hill. Kelly, thanks. In every city and town and village and hamlet in this country, one of the basic rituals of citizenship is mail delivery. every day of the week but Sunday. But in a world of email and with the Postal Service running at a big loss, can snail mail, as it's called, continue at this same pace? Not if you heard what was said about it in Washington today. That story from NBC's Lisa Myers.
Faced with a staggering $7 billion loss, the Postal Service
become much more vicious and more of a serious threat.
To make the public health situation even more challenging, studies out from the CDC today reveal that the tests widely used to determine if someone has flu can be wrong. In fact, some of those kits, which test just for flu, not even swine flu, can be wrong more than half the time. That means that doctors may have to treat some patients, especially those at high risk for complications like pregnant women, with antiviral drugs without knowing for sure if they have the flu.
And probably that'll cause more of the so-called worried well patients, people who just want to get checked out.
There's going to be a lot of reasons for worry this fall.
All right, Robert Pizzell, as always, thanks. Two stories came to our attention today, raised the question, what's in a name, specifically a brand name? First, there's the new Seattle Starbucks that is definitely not a Starbucks. It's a remodeled, rustic-looking store. The company is calling 15th Avenue Coffee and Tea, part of their push to make some stores seem more neighborhoody. They will serve beer and wine as well. Then there's Radio Shack, which has now taken to calling itself just The Shack. That's what they're going to call the company to freshen the image, though they say the signs on the stores will remain the same. It apparently is part because radios have been around for so long, and so has the Radio Shack name. Up next, as we continue here tonight, an awful car accident, 8 people dead, including 4 children. Was it drunk driving, or was there more to it?